Are you looking for a welcoming space where you can connect with military, veterans, first responders, and supporters of those communities? Well, look no further than fallinveteran.com. It offers a wide range of resources to support you on your journey, from job opportunities and career advice to mental health resources and VA benefits information. They've got you covered. And here's the best part. fallinveteran.com is completely free. So don't wait any longer. Visit www.fall-in-veteran.com today and experience the power of community.
Hello and welcome to the Fall In Podcast. I'm your host, Big Al, and do we have a special for you here today? Today, we're going to be joined by none other than Miss Tamara Fox, and she is the president of the Huntsville area of Realtors. And that's a very good title. And we're going to be talking to her, asking her some very poignant questions. This is going to be one in many series of podcasts that we're going to be doing here. So if you or someone that you know would like to get on the show and talk to Big Al about any and everything, just give us a call. The contacts will be in the chat. So without further ado, Miss Tamara Fox. Tamara, well, welcome to the show.
Hello, Big Al. How are you today?
Hey, doing outstanding. Thank you, first and foremost, for taking the time to actually talk to us. We understand that you're actually really busy out there. So thanks again for taking time out your schedule to field a couple of questions for us.
Of course, I'm happy to be here. And let me just correct one thing before we get started here. I am actually the president-elect of the Huntsville Area Association of Realtors. So that's for 2024. So 2025, I'll get to wear the crown. Okay, not really a crown.
So
I'll be president.
We'll call you Madam President-elect.
I like it. And then in 2025, you can just call me Madam President.
So tell us, how did you actually, what got you into this? How did you become interested in realty?
In real estate. So here's so I got my start back in Clarksville in 2007, and I actually didn't have any intention really of getting into real estate itself. I wanted to get into sales in general, and I started selling cars. I know that sounds really crazy, but I figured if I could sell cars, I could probably sell anything. I know that buying a car is about as painful as anything in this world. So to sell them, I thought, if I can do that, then I can do anything. So I got my start in sales that way with cars. And then I went and worked for the, what was the newspaper's name in Clarksville?
The Leaf Chronicle.
The Leaf Chronicle, yes. So I started selling real estate ads to realtors in Clarksville. And I did that for about 2 years. And one of my accounts actually recruited me. People that make good realtors typically are people that have had like customer service kind of a background, where I was in the restaurant industry for 12 years prior to the car stuff. So I've worn many hats in my life.
So with that will be an excellent question. What are some of the qualities do you think that actually makes a good realtor?
Somebody who listens, period. End of story. Talk less, listen more. I think that is one of my superpowers. I kind of have that down in my little name block here. I think listening to what clients' needs are is first and foremost, and having that property either sold, conveyed, whatever it be, the way that they see that happening, and trying to make that happen. So I think listening is a huge component of this job, and then integrity, doing the right thing. You're going to make mistakes, but own up to it, right? We're human, and correct them if you can.
So with that, I'm assuming that as you have lots of different clients, they're probably coming from all walks of life. Being in the Clarksville area and in the Huntsville area, the majority of those, I'm assuming, might have some kind of a military association with it. But outside of that, do you find it difficult to build a relationship or to build trust with your clients, or should I say, are there things that being associated with the military that have given you an advantage when it comes to building trust and relationships with your clients?
Yes, I absolutely think so. I think knowing that process, knowing what soldiers are going through, whether they're PCSing, right? If they're doing the Diddy moves and, you know, working with the Army, retiring, all of those things. I think because I've been there and I've done it to a certain degree, it helps me relate to my clients. And I think that's a great quality that I bring to the table.
Well, that's awesome, and like you said, you've been doing this since 2007. So one of the questions is how do you actually stay up to date with the trends and the changes that are actually, because I mean I'm an idiot when it comes to the real estate market, so I'm assuming that it does trend and there are things that are changing. How do you stay relevant?
The best way for me to stay relevant is to volunteer my time at the association. By doing so, I travel a lot. I go to a lot of different conferences around the nation and talk to other realtors that work in different markets. And guys, real estate is local. And let me say that again for the people in the back. Real estate is local. While you might be hearing things on the national news about real estate, please ask a local realtor what the market is like because probably not the doom and gloom that they're talking about. Yes, interest rates are high. There's a lot that goes into real estate, but it's local. But I stay relevant by going to these conferences. I go to classes. I take continuing education, which helps. I have a lot of designations and certifications that also keeps my finger on the pulse. I read a lot of emails that come in and signed up through different real estate news providers. So it's constant and it's constantly changing.
And speaking of that, so since you have started this career 2007, and you said coming from the automobile industry, how much has real estate itself changed? How the market, how's the market changed?
Well, the market, I mean, in 2007, I got my license right before the crash, right? But fortunately, I was in a market that didn't really feel it, meaning, Clarksville was always PCSing. Guys were coming and going. So the market didn't really feel it there. There were more foreclosures on the market during that time, but it recovered pretty quickly. Um, I hear that down here, for instance, during that time, it was really difficult. I think a lot of builders went under due to the market, and I was just in the right place at the right time. But now we're in a market that's also changing, meaning when I got into the business, interest rates were in the sixes, so we enjoyed some rates that are, 2.625, 3.5. Those rates are never coming back. So, and now we're back to those sixes again. I think that the interest rates are going to come down, which also changes the climate of the market. Buyers that could afford a $400,000 house at a 3% interest rate, 3.5, can't probably afford it now. So it's very cyclical. It goes up, it goes down. Um, but it's always a constant. Real estate is always a good investment, in my opinion, and you can't go wrong with it. And it creates wealth. And I think that's what I love about this job is helping people gain wealth with real estate.
So
Did
with
that answer
that,
that question?
yeah, absolutely. I think that answer was kind of spot on. So with that, and like you said, you have all of these credentials and certifications. So like, what are some of the services that you provide that might help clients navigate the real estate market? And what are some of these things that clients might not even look for or associate with that they should?
I mean, I think you need to have an agent that you feel like you can communicate with first and foremost. I think that is the biggest piece of this job. And that goes back to the listener, being an active listener. I think a lot of real estate agents try to fill the void with talking because they feel like they have to. And we don't have to talk. We need to listen more to our clients and what their needs are. Um, can you repeat the question?
I was just wondering if there were any tips maybe that you could offer, or any
I mean,
services that you provide as an agent that the common folks might not even know? Like, what is the advantage of using an agent? Like, do I need an agent?
yes, everybody needs an agent. I think agents provide a huge service. I think for one of the biggest amounts of money you're ever going to spend in one given time, you need to have an expert on your side. So hire a realtor. They can help you navigate the market and then pick somebody that you communicate with well, right? Like you can have those open talks. Like you can walk into a house and tell them that you hate it. Great, let's leave. It's okay. You're not going to hurt their feelings. But I think that is first and foremost. I'm the agent that never goes away, whether, until you tell me to go away. Um, Meaning that I want to be your realtor for life. So I stay in touch with my clients. It was funny. Um, I just got a call from a client that I closed back in, when was it? I think it was November last year. And he was just calling to say hello, which was great. I love hearing from my clients and asking a question about, a bathroom update that he wants to do. Hey, if we take all the tubs out, is it going to hurt the value? Like those are things that I think that we have answers to help our clients. And that's why you need us. We're here. We're here to
Well,
help.
inquiring minds want to know what was the answer. Removing the tubs from your home hurt value.
So my answer was, your kitchens and your bathrooms, you're going to get the most return on your investment if you update those two areas. So I told him we never know who our next buyer is. My next question to him was, well, how long do you plan on being in the house? And he said, probably 8 to 10 years. I was like, then you need to put in the showers, get the tubs out of there, and enjoy your house. And that's the main thing. Like if you have laminate countertops and you plan on being in the house another 4, 6 years, put them in sooner than later, enjoy them, and get that value back when you go to sell. It's okay.
So has that mindset shifted, do you believe, with the homeowner, the first time homeowner, and because when my parents were growing up, they're still in the first home that they ever purchased. So are people literally looking at buying houses now for a shorter term, or have you seen that?
I think NAR has done a study on that, and I think people are staying in the houses longer now than they had been previously. So, but people are still in them 8 to 10 years, I think, maybe a little bit longer. But everybody's different, right? Like, military, we move. We don't typically stay in the same place. I think it's generational too. The baby boomers, the millennials, the Generation Xers, I think they all have a different kind of feel about what real estate is to them.
Now, speaking of moving, you moved from Clarksville to Huntsville circa
2014.
2014, so that's coming up on 10 years. So in that 10 years, obviously you've had to reinvent yourself, but what do you think some of the biggest challenges have been for you in the 10 years? And maybe you think, if you could, can you tell us like a story that kind of sticks out in your mind?
Well, I put a $35,000 hole in my backyard in Clarksville, and I said I was never going to move. Here I am in Huntsville without a $35,000 hole in my backyard that now costs 65, 70. So that's one little story about this. I really had no intentions of moving from Clarksville. And we came down here and visited some friends, and we were like, let's just go look at houses. I mean, we didn't even really think about it. And it just kind of, we're like, well, we'll put an offer in. How bad could it be? And then the offer got accepted. And oh, guess what? We're moving. But so that's kind of the story about that. And, having seen Huntsville grow in the last 10 years has been amazing. When I first got into this market, the average sales price was $186,000. and now it's 382,000. I
That's almost
mean,
threefold.
it is really, really growing here, and Huntsville is big. I think it's an amazing town. It's big. I just saw something about the airport, how 1.43 million people went through the Huntsville airport last year.
Oh
That's a
wow,
lot of people. That's a lot
that
of travel.
that is actually pretty impressive. Um,
That's impressive.
so so you said you came down to Huntsville. You guys came down to visit friends. So having that military family, we are kind of like a tribe. We are. Does that help? Because we're gonna transition. And we're gonna talk about things that you've been doing with the Lady Night Stalker. So, well, with your Lady Night Stalker page yourself, uh,
Right.
what got you into that? What motivated you to actually to start up a Lady Night Stalker uh page?
Well, I mean, of course, we don't want to ever say the words like FRG, right? Because that's not what we are. What I wanted to do was, I go to some of the NSA events where they do the monthly meetings and stuff, and sometimes it's all just the men there, which is fine and it's great, and that's what it's designed to do. But sometimes I thought, you know what, it would be really nice to know if another wife was going to be there, so we could have some of our time. Maybe a new Night Stalker family has moved into town and they need support. I know that you guys need support, right? Like getting that second career and all those kind of things. But what about us? So that's kind of what I wanted to have that page for, is like, hey, the guys are meeting here. It's 5:30. Here's the date, blah, blah, blah. Give me a shout out if you're going to be going. Let's see who's going to be there so we can, you know, socialize with each other a little bit, catch up, all
So
those
as
things,
as
or
our
be there,
view
or be a supportive person for them if they need it in a new city.
So as our viewers are going to want to get in contact with you and figure out how they can join, participate, uh,
Mhm.
we'll actually put that information. It'll be in the comments as well. It'll be in the chat so they can do that. Uh, but is that important? Do you think it's important to actually have a tribe? Can you talk to the importance of that?
I mean, if mama ain't happy, nobody's gonna be happy. I mean, I think we all know that, don't we?
Right? Do
So,
you think
yeah, I do think it's important. I absolutely do. I know that I lean on my Night Stalker family, Army family a a lot, because we're all going through the same thing at some point. We've all been there, or we're getting ready to, or it's a process with you guys. Most of the guys coming down here are retiring, and that's a process. And it's a process for us too, right? If you've been gone a lot of the marriage and you haven't been there and now you're there, it's different. It changes the climate of things. So I think it's good for women to be able to have somebody, a safe place, whatever you want to call it, to chat with each other and bond and make new friendships and know that you're not here alone.
And now you said a lot of guys that are coming down here are retiring, and that's a lot of things. That's a lot that we deal with within Fall In is the transition program, and that being a very difficult one. Have you found it difficult, dealing with your husband's transition, especially now that you guys are both busy, kind of doing other things instead of necessarily being in the military?
He did a lot of his transition in Clarksville still, because we were there for how long before we moved? What, 4 years or so? Um, but I don't think it really hit until we removed ourselves from kind of the regiment in the area. So um, it did change, and it's been, I think it's challenging for all of y'all. Um, it's a unique situation that you're in. Um, I know that this sounds really strange, but the only analogy that I can kind of attribute it to is like getting out of prison, right? Because you've been told what to do and how to do it and when to do it for the last 20 plus years. And
For the
it
record,
changes when you get out.
I've never been to prison, so I would not understand that parallel. But I
I
understand the
guess that's what
analogy.
maybe that's what the outsider kind of looking in. That's how I view it. I don't know. I couldn't personally be in the military because I hate having people tell me what to do, but that's me. Um, but
So
so,
so
yeah, it's challenging, and I
so
I I also think that the NSA helps with that. Hmm?
our spouses actually affect you. Are you affected by your husband's military service?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know that
Indirectly,
there's I know that
indirectly, I mean.
I mean, sure. I know that there's things that bother him, that so, like, I think we're absolutely in tune with it. We are. We're in tune with it. We understand it to a degree. Um, yes.
And where do you go, as a spouse, if you need help? Do you have some specific place? Because I mean, that's what we're doing here. We're ultimately trying to build a place that military family members, spouses, service members, as well, can all come and kind of gather around. So I know that you're
Mhm.
going to be building a Lady Night Stalker page within Fall In. Uh,
Mhm.
but did you think that tribe has been essential for you? Uh,
Yes.
with what? Okay, I guess
Yes.
that's the question.
I absolutely think it's been essential, because to have somebody else that's been there, that's gone through it, that understands it, it's good. It's good to have somebody that does, because I mean, we all have friends that are outside the military, but I don't think they understand it as much as we do, and what the guys are going through, and all that. Yeah, I absolutely do, and I think women are probably a little bit um, more apt to talk about it with other women than men are, because that's you guys weren't uh, trained, right, to deal with it. Complete the mission, do the job, bury it, get rid of it, whatever. But that's not the training that we've gone through.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That might be a little bit of a controversial statement. I don't know if we would necessarily
Really?
train to cope with it. I think that is an issue that a lot of people struggle to try to find out how. Not only to kind of realize and identify that there's been something that has changed their chemical structure in their brain, the way they perceive things, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that one. I'm gonna have to think and see if we were actually trained to cope. That's a good question.
I mean, I always thought that was
We were
part of
conditioned
to
to cope.
complete condition to cope. There you
Yeah, we
go.
were conditioned
Complete
to
the
cope.
mission, right?
Yeah.
Mission
Yeah.
ready. Do the job. Get it done.
And the loss of that mission, the lack of something to actually keep us focused, that is a real reason why, because that's something I struggle with. That's a real reason why we're doing this. That's why we're doing Fall In, to kind of to have those guys fall into that, and realizing, hey, just because you're done doesn't mean you're done serving. That service is going to
Right.
continue, whether it be in the community or you just have to figure out how to continue to serve. Um,
And I think it's amazing that you're going to have this platform for them.
well, thank you. So as we get closer to wrapping this up, uh, any advice you want to give that first time home buyer?
Hire a realtor. Get with somebody to help you do it and to navigate it. And I'm not just saying that because it's my job. It's the biggest amount of money you're going to spend. You need somebody there in your corner with you to help you. Um,
And that's an awesome point, because it's literally the largest purchase that you're ever going to make in your life at one
it
time.
is.
Yeah. Wow.
That's right.
And for the
That's right.
record, Tamara closed me just over a year ago. As a matter of fact, you were my realtor here in Huntsville in December of last year.
Was it December? The
I
2 years ago, wasn't it?
No, man, it was last year.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, it was like the single biggest purchase of my life. So yeah, it was. I think it was last December.
See? Yeah. There
Oh,
you go. You ready
September.
to move? You
September.
ready to move?
Always
Get that
ready.
thing sold.
Always ready to move. And
I'm not.
and you said that you mentioned this. I'm scatterbrained, but you mentioned about the pool in the yard and how the cost of the pool went from $35,000 to $65,000 to $70,000. So would you still recommend a digging? I mean, is that one of those things where you put the pool in and enjoy it, or is that one of those things where because are you going to get the money back on that? I guess is the question.
Probably not. You're not gonna get the money back on it. I think out of the 40 that probably 40 with the hot tub that I spent in Clarksville, I probably got about 17 back.
Well, less than
So
50%.
you gotta be willing to take that hit. And that's the other question, like, is if you're not gonna be there for a long time, then don't do the digging. Or buy a house where somebody else has already taken the hit on it if a pool is really important to you.
All right, great advice. And looking forward to seeing the work that you're doing on the Lady Night Stalker page. Going to have that
Yeah,
Lady Night Stalker
absolutely.
page coming. It's going to be in Fall In. Information for that's going to be flashed across the bottom of your screen. Tamara Fox, thank you again for actually taking time out of your schedule, coming out here to talk to us. We really
Of
appreciate
course.
having you on board. For all of our listeners, once again, you can find all of the information about how to become a member of the tribe at Fall In or build your own tribe at Fall In. That is www.fall-in-veteran.com, www.fall-in-veteran.com. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you later on the Big Al Podcast.